just not ready to like come to terms with my, like face my demons. That was the whole thing. It was just like I couldn't own up to everything that I did and things that happened to me in my life. And like I would rather at the time not think about it and just numb myself. I loved feeling numb.
That's Teon Lolesio, aka Turquoise Prince. He's a Canberra rapper and singer with Tongan heritage, and to say his life's been a roller coaster barely begins to describe it.
One day I'll be king. King of the festival armies, where you never hear left, right, left, my soldiers bounce instead of marching.
Teon was always a wild kid, but it wasn't until he experienced bouts of psychosis as an adult that he started to understand the impact bipolar disorder was having. It took him years to realise bipolar was fueling his drug abuse, leading to paranoid delusions and eventually landing him in the psych ward with schizo-affective disorder. In the blink of an eye, Teon went from an emerging artist making money from music to living a nightmare he couldn't escape. But he weathered the storm, and with the help of his mum, who never quit on him, he's done all the right things to still be here today, reborn. Welcome to Young Blood, the award-winning volunteer podcast dedicated to young men's mental health. My name's Callum McPherson, I'm a journalist, and this is a platform for everyday men to share lived experience stories and show that no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. Suicide is the number one killer of young people, and changing that starts with speaking up. So let's do it. This episode has been made possible by Pro Realty Property Consultants. Pro Realty is a proud sponsor of the Young Blood Men's Mental Health podcast and a big believer in the importance of mental health awareness and suicide prevention. These legends swooped in with funding support at a time when we really needed it, and it's thanks to them we've been able to keep the show going. If you're looking for a commercial real estate agency you can trust to deliver quality, Pro Realty has a team of experienced professionals with the knowledge and expertise to provide you with a wide range of specialist services. Get in touch with their friendly team today to discuss how they can best assist you and mention Youngblood in your inquiry for a discount. Trigger warning, if you find anything spoken about in today's episode distressing, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. So Teon, when you were growing up in a single parent household with your mum, who were you trying to be?
Well, I guess like I still had my dad, you know what I mean? And I'd see him on weekends or whatnot, but like I did sort of still look up to my old man, and also my older cousins and like my big brother and whatnot. But I definitely struggled with my identity growing up. Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like that impacted you trying to be more of a tough guy, or feeling like you didn't fit in, or like you had to overact, or had to, try and be something that you weren't? Did you feel pressure to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I kind of had like anger issues as a kid, like pretty bad. Yeah, so I would act out and like just sort of go pretty extreme, even in primary school. Like yeah. There's a funny story. I don't even know if it's relevant, but I got asked to move schools in kindergarten, and that's a crazy story. People don't believe me, but like my mum will tell you point blank, like yeah, we had to go from one primary school to another because I had an incident where I like kind of, I don't know, kicked one chick's milk because she wouldn't share lunch or something.
Right. So you were aggressive from the time you were like 3 to 4 years old.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Where do you think that anger came from?
Yeah, honestly, like to go deep with you, like, yeah, probably my old man just sort of like not really having like a dad that was like there, like, and that was sort of like, I don't know, I guess like loving and shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so you felt like that did give you some anger inside. Like obviously you can't interpret that when you're that young, but that's sort of where it's coming from, that feeling of, hey, I wish my dad was around more, but he's not.
Yeah, 100%. And like, yeah, at the time I couldn't really articulate that. Like I didn't really know what was going on, but I just knew that I was angry. Like, yeah, I couldn't even explain it.
So why didn't you feel like you fit in?
Well, I guess first of all, like even in school, growing up in Canberra, in my day, there wasn't really a huge island population, to be honest, bro. And especially being half Tongan, half Australian, like I didn't really know any other half-caste islanders until I sort of went to high school. Like I had a cousin or two that were half caste also, but like not, every day in school, oh, this person's like me. There was none of that, and felt quite awkward, like all the time. Like even just like sitting on the ground. I remember like real young, crossing your legs, and I had like big legs. And I would always be like, man, like I've got bigger legs than everyone else. Like I don't like
You
this.
didn't know that was a good thing yet, bro. Leg day sucks.
Yeah,
man.
no, I didn't. Honestly, I was insecure. Like, yeah, I hated it.
Man, I wish I had some Tongan legs on me.
Yeah, mate.
So, but when you were in school, you were at a private school, even though like your family didn't have heaps of money, but you were in a private school, had a reasonably nice school life. But then you would go and hang out with the public school kids and like get into trouble and try and be a bit gangster or whatever. What was behind that?
Honestly, like, I guess, we all got family members that, might, be a big gangster. And I kind of, I had, like my older brother was, I won't say too much, he'll get angry at me, but like he was, the cool kid or whatever, like hanging with the wrong crowds. And I'd see him young, like smoking, whatever. Yeah, we won't go into that, but you know what I mean? Like I witnessed it. I got cousins that were like, tough, I guess, is probably the best way to put that. So
that appealed to you. That appealed to you as a sense of identity. Like I want to be like that because it looks like no one messes with that person. Like someone, if I could be like that, then no one will hurt me.
100%. Like I was like, I am that. Like that's my cousin, that's my family, that's my brother. Like I'll carry that with me. And that was like my confused sense of identity at the time. For
and
sure.
It got you in a little bit of trouble, like stealing a few cars and running from the cops here and there, thinking you were hard.
Yeah.
But that was about the extent 100%. Of it, eh?
Yeah. Well, I guess like, I don't even know how deep to go into it. Like, violence was pretty normal back in those days. Like, in my life, it wasn't sort of too out of the ordinary to see a fight or be in a fight. You know what I mean? And like it was just like, I always felt different. Again, going to a Catholic school, like my first day of school, year 7, I remember seeing like a fight on the first day of school at recess. And I didn't know anyone at this school. Like I was coming from the other side of town, And so there's a fight on the oval and everyone's just screaming and running to it, being like, oh, fight. And I was like, for a minute, felt like, oh, this is a weird, like adrenaline thing or whatever, like I was like, this feels, I don't know, different, but familiar. And so I'll go to watch this fight and it's two dudes just boom, 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 just holding each other's shirts, whatever. And I remember seeing how all the kids were reacting. And people were scared, but people were also like, yeah. And then I remember being like, I'm going to be one of them guys, you know what I mean? In the middle.
Yes. Like, so you could see the attention that it brought. And, even if you're doing the wrong thing and potentially hurting someone, at least people are paying attention to you. And then it's like, I could be that dude. I could be someone. And you're going about trying to 100%. Piece together an identity and be respected, and you're going about it the wrong way, but you haven't been shown in another way yet.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That was the only way I knew. That was it. Like,
but then you got humbled hard because your dad sent you back to Tonga.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, tell us about that. Those couple of years.
Yeah, well, it was definitely that whole culture shock. Like, you just sort of not used to, like, you got everything you need in Australia. Like school, you got so much more compared to what they have in Tonga. At the time, Tonga was a developing country. It wasn't a developed country. It was independent, but it wasn't like, the living standards were like, to someone that grew up in Australia, living standards were shocking.
So like housing, clean drinking water, food.
Yeah. Like you got to boil the water and like we have a water tank, but you're not supposed to drink out of it because there's like rats and cockroaches. And I was drinking out of it, but I didn't care. By then I was like, I'm Tongan, you know. Yeah, but yeah, just that whole like the school uniforms and the curriculum, like how they ran the schools, the smacking, the everything. It was just
so they still hit kids at school over there.
Yeah, well, I've since found out they're trying to stop that. Like they're trying to they're like, you know, we can't smack kids anymore. It's 2023.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Happens.
But when you first went over there, you went over there and you were like, yeah, I'm tough. Like, I'm going to run Tonga.
Yeah.
And then teachers just gave you a smack straight away.
Yeah, definitely. Teachers, students, like not every student, but, you know, a couple times I definitely got humbled. Yeah.
And what did you learn from being there?
Just that whole like gratitude factor of like, you know, this is normal for, you know, everyone that grew up here in Tonga, and then in Australia, like
not taking stuff for granted.
Yeah, 100%.
What about any discipline? Did you have any discipline from getting your head smacked in for being a naughty boy?
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I came back to Australia and did year 12 at an all boys school, a rugby school. I went to play rugby. And yeah, like there was a teacher, put it this way, there's a teacher from my old high school who I may have made like cry, kind of, you know, run out of the classroom, like, yeah, like that bad. That's how bad I was. I was like, it was like a challenge every class to like see if I could break the teachers and that. It was bad. But this teacher was at my new school. And, you know, the first like month, she wouldn't look at me. Like she'd be like hate me. You know, I could feel the hate. But she didn't know that I came back with a whole new sort of like
attitude.
And yeah.
But you
like,
traumatized her, the poor thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like the sad part. But I came back and I was getting good grades. Like I was studying tertiary. You know, I don't know if it's still tertiary now, but I was trying to go to uni. Like
tertiary sounds smart.
Yeah. I wasn't that smart, but I was faking it till I could make it, you know. But I was getting like good, you know, like teachers were sending notes, letters home to my dad and being like, you know, your son is like doing good and shit, like. And then after, a couple months, this teacher, she came up to me in the hallway and was like, or maybe even in the office, because she was in the office where like my head of whatever, like a teacher faculty, and you go talk to them and whatnot, sit down. She was like, you know, Teon, like I didn't know, like I was worried when you were here. I didn't know that like, you know, you'd be, you know, a good student or whatever. I can't remember her words, but I just remember how shocked she was. Like seeing me being a good student, like not once did I like have a go, like, you know.
So you did have it in you. You weren't actually a bad person, you know, you just needed some discipline.
Yeah.
Bit of a smack on the ass.
Like, yeah, definitely a couple, definitely 100 at least. I always had it in me. Like I still, you know, I've had people from my high school reach out to me, you know, and be like, you know, you were this and that when we were in school, but like, you know, I might have run into them, you know, out of school later on, and then it was a different story, you know. And I had one person reach out and be like, you used to bully me, but, you know, you apologized to me that time when you came into my work. Like I just saw this dude working once and I was like, fuck, I got to make that right for like karma and shit, because like I was a troubled kid and I bullied. I was a bully. Like, yeah.
But you can see that like that came from your own insecurity and wanting to have 100%. That identity, and you're not someone who actually wanted to hurt people. You're not pathological.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it makes me like, even thinking back on it now, like just anyone I was mean to or like did anything, like just sad to, like I feel horrible, you know, like I definitely like, and even at the time it was like I knew I shouldn't be acting that way, you know. I felt like I was like playing a character, you know, like in high school. I felt like I was like, this is how I gotta be. I gotta be heartless like my dad, you know. I gotta, you know. be like my family and like not have emotions, you know, but deep down I'd be like, oh, but like, man, that would have hurt, or that would have, you know, bad karma,
so
bro.
You didn't know who you were because you were just a kid and you weren't having that modeled for you. So you were just trying to piece together whatever you did see. And so you did see some violence, and you did see that stoic front of, oh, we don't talk about emotion. So then you were trying to model that, but that wasn't lining up with who you were inside. So many men can relate to that, of course. So you did come back to Australia, and then you got diagnosed with bipolar when you were 19. How did you take that diagnosis, or how did you understand that?
All I knew was that like I would be going through periods of like, I would just have so much energy and like be training at the gym twice a day. Like I'll be playing footy as well. And then after footy, I'll go, you know, pump a gym session and lift as heavy as I could. And like, I'll get like injuries and shit. But then I would have episodes of like the complete opposite, where I would really not be able to explain why, like I can't get out of bed. I can't like, I don't know. And that's not even the best way to sort of like describe depression, but like I really like struggled to like see the point of life at times. But I was way better back then when I was younger. I was way better at like sort of like getting myself out of that headspace. It was like it was only little back then. It didn't really, you know, it'd be like a moment, couple minutes. I'd be like, yeah, man, like, why do I even bother? Like, even though there's nothing going on bad in my life, you know what I mean? Like I might have broken up with a girlfriend or whatever, and I'd be like, there's no point or whatever. And then I'd be like, what the hell am I doing? Like,
But what you're describing there, that's normal emotions, obviously, where we feel sad after something's happened to us and we've got more energy and we're feeling good when we're healthy. But that's not bipolar. Bipolar is obviously on a whole other level, where you're either manic or you're in a depressed state a lot of the time, or somewhere in between that. And how was that explained to you when you were diagnosed, or was it explained, or what did you even take away from it when they said you have bipolar?
Honestly, I didn't really believe in mental health because, you know, like, again, we don't talk about it. Not in the Tongan culture. It's not a thing. There's not even a word for mental health or, you know, mental illness, or there's just a word for crazy. I just didn't really think it was a thing. Like I was like, yeah, all right, mad, cool. Like, because it wasn't really a problem to me back then. The depressive episodes and the manic episodes weren't that bad. Like the worst that they were, the sort of most damage they were causing was I just had like online shopping addictions. I would like spend all my paycheck on like vintage Nike Adidas jackets that, you know, like you can't find anywhere, and, you know, 300 a pop. And at one point I had like 40 of them or something. And then randomly I'd give them all away and be like, they know how mad this is. And like people would be like, oh, thanks. But like they didn't have my style, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
so
I've always been like quite...
Stuff that just made sense to you at the time while you were having a manic episode. Well, other people around you were like, oh, that's strange, but thanks for the jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Just like random gifts that have no like relevance to this person. And I just like, here, I got this for you. This is for you.
But did you, Teon, did you sort of think that was just your personality? And so therefore, how could it be a problem?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I would regret it after. I'd be like, man, like I really wanted, like I should have kept that, you know, like why was I so impulsive? Like I have no control over my impulses, and that's been a problem like my whole life. I've definitely gotten better with it now, but that was it. Like,
but
I think of something and I do it.
You thought that's just who I am. I'm just like that. Not, well, that's part of having a mental illness that needs to be treated and I need to be aware of how that works. It was just like, well, that's me, so whatever.
Absolutely. That's it. And that's what I'm saying. Like I think I only went to the doctor because a girl told me to go to the doctor. And I was like, I'll go, whatever, psychiatrist, GP, then psychiatrist, maybe even my GP. yeah, but like, again, I just didn't believe in it. I thought, you know, people would talk about anxiety and I couldn't relate. I'd never had anxiety back then. I always was like, you know, that's made up. Like, that's not even real. Like, you know, I honestly thought that. And the you know, the funny thing is now, like, I have anxiety and I've had it for years. Like, I understand it now. But as a 19-year-old with no education on, you know, I was never educated in like sort of mental health. I didn't know anything about it. And again, you know, if you ask like my Tongan side of the family about mental health, they'll laugh. Like, they'll think you're soft.
Still to this day?
You know. Yeah.
Shit,
yeah.
That's pretty hectic considering what you've been through, that they'll still have that attitude towards it. And that's so hard, and something to consider, the cultural barriers and differences for people when we talk about mental health. And some cultures are far less accepting than others. And we're seeing a lot more in the West now. Western culture is sort of being more accepting of mental health and having more of these discussions. But within other cultures, as you've just said there, it's still something that's stonewalled and not talked about. Even if someone very close to you in your family, who obviously your family loves you, has been through what you've been through, they're still taking it as a joke. Like, that's pretty intense to grow up around that. It makes sense why you had those views. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I still have family that honestly think I was an ice addict, and like, just like, for some reason I just turned to ice like that. You know, I had no reason to, and I've said this before, I have nothing against people that do drugs, but
that was one of the few drugs you weren't on, wasn't it?
What is it? Yeah,
wasn't that one of the few drugs you weren't on?
That was the one I was scared of. That and heroin were the ones I was scared of. But yeah, like, literally. But you know,
that's how they explain it and justify it. It's like, oh well, it was because you went and became a drug addict and did a particular drug, not all the other factors.
Exactly. Like, there's no brain sort of chemistry. There's no imbalance in the brain chemistry. Like, in their eyes, they think it's like, as I said, my dad all he says to me is, "You still off the drugs? Like, you doing drugs?" And I'm like, "No, like, I'm good now." But even then, like, you think I was smoking ice because my behavior was similar to people that smoke ice.
Which is manic and depressive episode, you know, up way high, up for days at a time, and then down for days at a time.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, the psychosis, you know, like, even the step above mania, like the full on, like, you know, you can still be quite, I don't want to say grounded in a manic episode, but, you know, the delusions aren't as
overwhelming. They're not taking over your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like psychosis is pretty much a paranoid schizophrenic, like every symptom of paranoid schizophrenia. That's pretty much psychosis.
And we know that people who do a lot of meth often end up in psychosis and behave that way.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that your family's going to rationalize it that way. But it's also unfortunate because you've got a mental illness that, you know, you've grown up with, that is part of your brain and how your brain functions, which is massively connected to why you were even doing drugs in the first place. And this super hard to understand picture of who you are and your own mental health, a lot of things not in your control, and people who are really close to you are still just like, oh, well, it's your fault because you did that drug, which you didn't even do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, I feel like with the manic and the depressive episodes, the only way I knew how, and I'd be, you know, on and off the meds, but the only way I knew how to balance that was smoking weed, you know, like punching cones, like all day, every day, middle of the night, wake up.
So on that, how did you develop a drug dependency?
I guess it wasn't even just like, you know, the bipolar thing. I think it was, you know, I signed a major label record deal at the age of 22. There was a lot of pressure on me. I had a lot of eyes on me at the time. And, you know, I was doing like kind of big things back then in the music scene. And yeah, there was just a lot of pressure on me. But after signing a major label deal worth, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I sort of just lost all creative control. Like, it wasn't up to me what we're doing, what we're putting out, this and that. Like, I can't get too into that because I did sign a NDA, but
we do hear that story though from the music industry all the time, when artists, as part of their deal, they give up some of that creative control, and then all of a sudden they're just a vehicle for the label to put out whatever the label says that they need to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So if someone says, like, you know, in my case, like, at the time, you know, I made beats, I produced average beats, but, you know, there was enough there to make it a beat, you know. And I would sing, like, I'm a singer, I'm a vocalist, singer-songwriter, and a rapper before Oz rap was, like, as respected as it is in today's day and age. But, you know, if you've got people saying, you know, don't rap, don't worry about the beats, just sing, it sort of goes against your core beliefs and your core values.
How did that relate to you doing more and more drugs?
Well, you know, if you sign a major label deal and your music doesn't get released until nearly 2 years after you put the pen to the paper and sign your life away, you know, 2 years, like, you get kind of bored, since you know that you're writing songs every day, which is what I do. Even still, I can't stop. It's an addiction, a healthy one though. You know, like, I was discouraged. I didn't want to write songs because I knew that if I write a song tomorrow, a mad one, something that to me, I'll be like, this is a hit. You know what I mean? Like, this,
you couldn't put it out.
Rock. I couldn't put it out. It would take years. You know, like, at the stage I was at the level of importance that I had at the time, which was not very much in the scheme of things. Yeah, it was kind of triggering, you know, a lot of depression. And I actually went to, you know, I do therapy, and I'm not ashamed. I know a lot of people are ashamed to sort of even think about going to see a therapist. But one that I was seeing a couple of years ago, I remember she dropped this gem on me when she said, do you think you smoke so much marijuana because you're masking your depression? And, like, I had never thought of that. Like, I'm masking my depression. Like, it's like, as long as I can punch cones, feel numb, feel nothing, giggle, food tastes better, whatever is better, whatever. Like, you know, that's enough of a distraction to just keep me busy from the, you know, the main issue. Which was,
you're sweeping it aside. You don't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
As long as I can keep getting high, then I'm not going to have to face how I actually feel.
Exactly, but it just adds fuel to the fire. You know, like, he's just like bottling it up. Like, and the thing is, I know people that do drugs, smoke marijuana, bender, and whatever, and they can handle it. Like, I know people that can. I thought I could, you know. I had a reputation back in the day. Like, anyone that's sort of been on a bender with me would probably, you know, agree with me. But, you know, I was one of them sort of people that never wanted it to end.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and that became part of your identity as well.
Yeah,
you know, you've gone from being trying to be hard to being the guy who could do the most drugs and was like the fun sort of party guy. And then you see yourself that way as well. Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of trying to hold on to that. And it's like you said, you're still playing a character kind of. Yeah. And that character, like your psych said, is masking who Teon actually is, which he doesn't really want to face up to because that's scary. But there's so many there's so many layers to it that it's hard to realize at the time, isn't it? Until you reflect later on. And then, of course, we know 100%. Questionable as to whether people should be smoking weed anyway. But certainly, if you have bipolar, all the advice is do not go anywhere near any of those drugs.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
You can, you know what the result was, but mixing all of those things, and it was heaps of weed, and then you also were doing Xannies and like I've heard you say in the past, just trying to balance yourself out all the time. But what I think is interesting about that is that makes sense because you have bipolar, and of course you were trying to balance how you felt because naturally, based on your chemistry, you were up and down, but
I'm out of balance.
But you just, I don't know, tell me about that. Like, how did you think about that at the time?
Well, again, it was like the thrill, you know, it's like one of my housemates, and again, you know, I live with Pretty Crabs and Bigger Best from Sticky Fingers in St. Peter's. And I remember at one point they said to me, like, they kind of, I wouldn't call it a full intervention, but they kind of sat me down one night, you know, we were all, you know, having a few quiet ones or whatever. And they were like, Teon, bro, like every 10 minutes, bro, like you're like, are you okay? Like every 10 minutes you got to have a cone or you got to do something, you know, like they were worried, you know, they noticed that like it was just getting worse and worse, that like I needed to have some sort of a fix of something to either stimulate me or chill me out to feel satisfied with the day or wherever I am at, wherever I was at in life.
Yeah. So you were just restless all the time, that you couldn't sit still, you couldn't be comfortable, you couldn't spend even a moment just being yourself. You had to go from one thing to the next.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, and I know that like the moral of the story was that it was because I knew the minute I don't have anything to stimulate me or keep me busy or like distract me, I knew that I'd be alone with my thoughts, and I know where they go, you know, with the whole I know how dark, I knew how dark they get.
You had that sense within yourself, and just logistically, there must have been periods where you didn't have drugs on you. Like there must have been 100%. At least some stretches. And then in those times you would feel afraid and depressed and anxious. And so then you were trying to get away from that feeling at all costs.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, if there's no drugs, you know, there's other ways, you know, like, you know, I would confuse that feeling of like no drugs with being like lonely or something, you know what I mean? Like kind of be like, as long as I got, you know, either, you know, someone there or drugs there or, you know, like, some valleys to just pop it and just zonk it, bro, go to sleep for a day or.
Yeah. And just skip to the next day.
Yeah. Skip the come down. Yeah. 100%.
And because of this, you ended up with a pretty gnarly drug debt.
Yeah. I talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I've actually had a couple. I didn't go into this other one I have, you know. I had one of them. This is a different one to the Sydney one. So yeah, the Sydney one, I would finesse one of my dealers, like my main guy. I'd finesse him because I was making money doing shows, you know, whatever, selling merch.
So you get drugs on tick and then say you're going to pay him back when the money comes in, and then not pay him back.
Bro, I would, this is bad, right? This is bad, but I would tick off as many dealers as I could. Like I would be like strategic, bro. It's bad. Like that, you go bad. It's like manipulative, you know what I mean? Because I'd be like, all right, how many dudes in my phone sell drugs? How many are gonna, you know, hook it up, you know, like for a favor, you know, like, oh, you know, I'll hook it up. I'll sort you, you know, I'm good for it. And then, you know, if I send 10 messages to 10 dealers and, you know, 3 of them hook it up, then like I'm sweet. And then, but it was bad. It was bad. In Canberra, when I ended up coming back to Canberra, because Sydney got too crazy, particularly the drug debts and the rent debts, I was doing the same thing. It was the same thing. I was still just like whoever's got buds, whoever's got bags, whoever's got benzos, whatever. And I had a guitar. I had a beautiful, it was a Mexican Stratocaster, pink, bro. It was a pink electric guitar, Strat, like the maddest guitars. I bought it with my advance back in the day. Yeah, it was, I don't know, $6,000-$8,000 guitar, something mad. And this one dealer was just hassling me, bro, because I knew I wasn't getting the money in because I was already I'd already kind of ruined my, made a huge mistake in my music career. at one of my shows, I actually was involved in a physical altercation after I headlined this massive show. So that was like a really bad thing, but I was running away from that as well because I was in psychosis. And yeah, anyways, one of these drug dealers was just sort of hitting me up, and I just said, "Listen, bro, I'll come over now, whatever." I come over with this pink electric guitar worth more than whatever than I owed, you know, but I didn't care because I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna hook it up for a while now," and I just gave it to him, and I go, "Bro, just hock it, just like sell it at cash converters if I don't pay you back, but like, you know, I need a fucking, you know, give me what I need," you know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations. And I never saw that guitar again. And I wish I didn't do that. And there's multiple occasions where I just sit back now and be like, fuck, bro, like how did I think that was logical at the time? You know, it's so like ridiculous to think that things like that is okay, you know.
But that's addiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
you'll do anything, and anything that's going to result in you getting more drugs makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I felt like I was getting a bargain.
We all know physical health and mental health go hand in hand, and that's why Youngblood has partnered with Athletic Greens to bring you the benefits that can help with both. You might have heard of AG1, the one-stop shop nutritional drink packed full of everything you need to support your mind and body. Just one daily scoop of AG1 covers all your nutritional bases and supports long-term gut health with 75 vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, a greens blend, and whole food ingredients. Think of it like a cheat code to give you more energy, increase mental clarity, better sleep, and improve digestion, all while boosting your immune system. You wouldn't think mixing all those vitamins together would taste great, but AG1 is actually delicious and really simple to make part of your morning routine. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but producing the podcast is purely volunteer, and I actually have to pay for studio time and editing. Every dollar we make from this partnership will go towards helping to cover production costs, so it's an awesome way to support your health, help the podcast, and contribute to young men's mental health all in one. If you're looking for a simpler and cost-effective supplement routine, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/youngblood. That's athleticgreens.com/youngblood. Check it out.
How are you still able to perform for a while there and at least make an attempt at doing your job, like while all this stuff was happening? Because it sounds like, how would anyone even function? I know you'd been doing it for a while, but like, what happened to your music when you were in the grip of this?
Well, that's a mad question. So first of all, like, I feel like my rap music, you know, my bars became a bit more aggressive. I actually took one song down from my from all the platforms. It was called LTC Part 2. No one can find it. No one's going to ever find it. And it was, you know, people liked it, but I was like just dissing everyone, you know, like I was dissing the hilltop hoods. I was dissing people you shouldn't diss. Like, so the writing music was like just becoming very dark and very full of hate. And, you know, like my team were just like, oh, and I, you know, they didn't want to kind of do it. And I'd be like, no, do it. Put it out, mix it. This is the cover photo. This is this. We're putting it out. I know what I'm doing. And I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I just had this confidence that was fucked, you know?
Yeah.
But when I was playing
most
the
of your
shows,
music's like pretty soulful, it's got a nice vibe to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mix of rap and singing, but it's upbeat. Yes. It's kind of chilled out. Mm-hmm. It's not like 1-4 like gangster stuff, you know? Exactly,
yeah. But when it came to playing shows, when I was manic, when I was in manic episodes, like I could do that. The strangest part is like that was the most natural thing for me, was to go out and perform and just be this character. Because I think the danger of the music, like where the music became a problem, was I became the character, the Turquoise Prince. I got lost in the sauce, you know, so to speak. Like that was who I thought I was. I thought I like, you know, killed off Teon. Teon wasn't a person. I was Turquoise. You know, I'd walk around Canberra, go to the mall, go to wherever, whatever. People knew me as Turquoise, and they still do. But like back then I became the alter ego, which is, you know, realistically a character I created to be able to, like, you know, entertain.
That makes sense though. If you're constantly putting that character on and you're being that dude on stage in your music when you're walking around, anyone who's coming up and giving you props is doing it because they know you as Turquoise.
Exactly.
And then you're doing drugs all the time. It's not very far to go to imagine, like, yeah, well, of course you're going to fully embody that and forget who Teon is. And that's nothing new. I mean, rappers especially have alter egos all the time. And we know, getting lost in the sauce. I love that, that quote, but you do see that. I mean, the most famous one would be Slim Shady, obviously.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like I feel like the perks of living that lifestyle, like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I was like an A-grade Australian music celebrity. I don't think I was an A-grade celebrity, but I definitely was predicted to be something special. But the perks of the lifestyle that I was living, I was, you know, like what do people associate being like a rock star with, you know what I mean? Like girls,
sex, drug, and rock and roll.
Free stuff, all that. I was already doing that, you know what I mean? Like I was living that. Like that was my reality, and I had no control, you know, like self-control. Like it was like, no, I like this, and this lifestyle is more important than the music. Like I'm all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That was it. That was all I was doing.
Turquoise is all about it.
Yeah,
whoever that guy is.
He was. He was. Yeah, this is Turquoise 2.0, bro.
Yeah. The much lighter, smoother Turquoise. It's easier to get along with.
Yeah, he's got his head screwed on now.
Yeah.
Finally.
He wants to make love, not war. I think that's a better call.
100%.
So just to get into that, the psychosis and the paranoid delusions, where did that all go and like fall in a heap to the point where, you know, there was no getting on stage, there was you going to a psych ward? What led to that?
Like, as in, like, how did I sort of end up in there?
Yeah, like what was the tipping point where that train came off the tracks?
Yeah, well, I ended up sort of in an altercation with 3 people. That altercations weren't unfamiliar to them, and, you know, I got in this situation. It's kind of a touchy situation, but I had to return something to this place of work. And when I returned this thing, you know, the person was like, you better get the fuck out of here. You're scaring everyone, whatever. So I ended up being like, yeah, all right, come outside then, whatever. And then I ended up being outside, you know, whatever. 3 people, it ends up being 3 people instead of 1. So I'm hearing this voice being like, take your clothes off. Like in my head, it's like, this will fuck with them. Like, take your clothes off and get butt naked and fight these guys butt naked and start saying really, really absurd things that you would never want to hear if you're a masculine dude. Yeah, things I can't even say on here, bro. The things that were coming out of my mouth were like to the point where they were like, whoa, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I was like, hey, man, like bad. And so I end up like, you know, we're kind of on the road in the middle of, like, I wouldn't be surprised if people had videos of this, you know what I mean? But we're on the road, and suddenly, like, across from the police station in Canberra, in Civic, and then this police car pulls up, and then for some reason in my head, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna get arrested, you know, like they're gonna get done, like
just so out of it,
bro. I was gone, bro. I was like making gun sounds, like, bro, like butt naked in the middle of the road, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
thinking they're the ones who are done.
Yeah. I was like, use weight. Like, and in my head, I had like plans. I was like, don't worry, I know whatever. Like bad. So yeah,
it's
cops
just
just
wild
rock
though,
up
isn't it?
and they're
The
like,
distinction between what's going on in your head where a voice is telling you to do this, and then the reality of what's actually happening, what everyone else is seeing, and then you thinking, oh, this is going to go well for me. This just goes to show like how wild it is.
Bro, but this is where it's bad, right? Like that. So I dropped that, credit card off to this place on the way to go and see my lawyer to go and get legal advice for, the incident that happened at my show. And I went to my lawyer with my mum. So my mum was in talking to my lawyer, and I was butt naked, punching on, and just like not in touch with reality, bro. Like just thought I was in a movie, like the Truman Show. Like I just thought it, and then so like my mum ends up coming down, seeing me get arrested, butt naked, bro. Like even my lawyer came down and was like, oh, this is no, I don't want to, probably shouldn't have anything to do with this guy. Like, because again, looked like, I fit the profile of someone that does heavy, hard drugs, and
that's scary stuff.
Bro. It's really bad.
Scary for your mum. Nothing scarier than that for your mum to see that as well, just out of concern for you.
Bro.
Yeah, that would have been really tough. So then from there, they put you into like a padded cell?
Oh, so they put me in a paddy wagon with a blanket and handcuffs, and I was just singing. I was like, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do right now. I'm supposed to sing. But I'm like singing hidden runs, like,
wow, far out.
Hitting all these, bro, like, and my mum's outside talking to the police crying, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucked up shit, bro. And like, because my mum's seeing me like, my mum would be like, that is my son and he is crazy right now, like that's full blown. There is nothing. He's lost it. I lost the plot, bro. But so they put me in a paddy wagon. They drive me across the road to the police station. I get out. I'm naked with a blanket. And these cops are just like, I'm just cracking jokes. Like I was just cracking jokes, being like, hey, well, don't worry, it's cold outside. Like just being funny, And then I end up getting processed. And the dude, one of the cops is a guy I went to school with, who was my mate on my footy team. We were mates. And then he was like, Teon, what are you doing here? And I was like, bro, like, you know why I'm here, bro. Like, don't worry. Like, and I just saw his eye. Like, I remember the face he made, and it was just like, oh no. Like, just couldn't understand it. Again, fit the profile. They put me in the fish tank, fish bowl. I asked, so I'm laying in a little cell, like the police cell, and I asked for a Bible. I was just like, oh, oi. I said the person that I went to schools with name. I was like, hey, old mate, can you bring me a Bible? And he was like, oh, all right, I'll see what I can do. Brought me a Bible. I'm just laying there. I don't know how many hours I was there for. I was just reading the Bible out loud, just like, And then God said, let there be light, like out
fit
loud.
The profile.
And there's, bro, this is what I'm saying. Like I was gone. There was like, yeah. And so
you still got a good memory of that? Or did someone tell you this?
Bro, no. I remember it now, and I actually haven't thought about this for a minute. But like, I remember. And the hectic thing is, like, I do have PTSD from this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be doing random things throughout my day, and something instantly, I'll be like, this reminds me of exactly when I was here, and I was seeing that, and the feeling. I remember the feeling of when I was in psychosis. Like, that's what I get. Like, I get the I remember when I was crazy and what I was thinking and what I was doing. Like I hadn't thought about this for fucking years. You know what I mean?
Can you describe the feeling?
Just scary, bro. Just scary. No control. You don't have like thoughts, you don't have like, all right, I gotta go drive to bloody the shops and get some eggs and milk, you know? You're sitting there going, shops, hit, tree, there, that means this. And when I do that, look, I've got to look up 3 times and like, that's what's going on in, you know, in your head.
Yeah, there's no order to everything and it's just all on overdrive.
Yes, absolutely. And then like, I'll start, like, as I said, with this PTSD shit, I'll like, remember the exact thought processes, and like some of them were dangerous, bro. Some of them were dangerous. Like, you know, at one point I ended up calling my cousin and just being like, "Oh, bro, you know, I need to get a PS4 controller, bro. I'm gonna go play some Call of Duty." And anyone that knows what that means, like, first of all, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and then my cousin's like, "Doggo, what's wrong with you, bro?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're not well, bro." And I was like, "What do you mean I'm not well?" "Yeah, no, whatever. And then I was like, "Well, fuck you, bro. Fuck, you think you're the only person that I can, whatever?" Like, that's.
But the paranoia made you feel like people were out to get you, and that you needed to get them first before they got you, and you had to protect yourself. And then you'd hear voices that would tell you to do violent things or do whatever. So that really is the stereotype about what we hear for schizophrenia in particular. And you experienced that, you know.
Twice.
That is scary stuff, man, because you know, if you're thinking those thoughts and you're calling people and having those discussions and you've got those fears and all those feelings are real to you, and what's happening is real to you at that moment, it doesn't take much to actually go and act something out. Like, luckily, thank God you didn't have guns on you or you didn't go and seriously hurt someone, because I'm sure you understand how that happens.
Yeah, bro, that's what, like, this is the thing, you know, like I see in the news, like, you know, I used to laugh hearing, you know, oh, someone did something, you know, crazy or whatever. I wouldn't say laugh, but I never like understood, you know, you hear someone like in the headlines, if someone does something bad, you know, they don't often say, you know, a bipolar or schizophrenic man did something horrific.
It's framed as this person fucked up because they're a bad person. They did the wrong thing. End of story. Yeah,
exactly. And, you know, no matter what, at the end of the day, you do something fucked up, you fucked up. You know what I mean? Like that, especially something you can't come back from. But like, I can sympathize like quite heavily now.
There's more to it than that.
I've had the and as I said, like, it doesn't make any of it all right. I would never be like, no, they don't deserve whatever punishment or whatever. Like, no matter what, you know, whatever happened. Yeah,
whatever. Do the crime, do the time, but you got to look at the whole picture of it, and you're never doing that with a 80-second news story, which is just like, this horrible thing happened, that person did it.
Exactly.
Not like this person comes from a lifetime of trauma and they were raised in a violent home and they've got this mental illness and, you know,
and it's like, I see it now and I'll just be like, fuck, that person didn't have the help that they needed. You know what I mean? That's how I see it now. And like, it makes me sad, you know, but like at the same time, you know, what can I do personally, you know? So like, but that's why I like, you know, it's mad that we can talk about this, you know, and go deep on this stuff. But that's how I feel. I feel sorry.
Well, yeah, and now you're capable of that, and you can reflect, and you're in a rare position where you've really been there to like the nth degree, to the level where a lot of people don't come back from. So you can empathize with that on a whole other level, and you can actually use that now to affect some good and be able to talk to other people who might be going through it and give them some hope and give them some guidance, which is actually, you know, a beautiful thing coming out of something that's so horrendously awful. So you were in that psych ward then, and I remember hearing you say that it was like a month before you came down off that mania and even accepted what was going on. And before that, you were trying to fight the guards and you were getting knocked out with drugs for days. And
yeah, bro. Yeah, it was bad. Like, and the other thing is, like, I feel quite a unique experience the first time I went also. And, you know, I'm going to tell you a story that, I was definitely in psychosis at the time, but it's been confirmed, you know what I mean? Like that none of this was imagined, but there was one person that worked at this hospital, mental hospital, and this person knew me and knew Turquoise. And I didn't know them, obviously. And this person just said to me one night, I'd never really seen them, like, Turquoise, and I was like, yeah, what up? And he was like, what's the one thing, I can't do his accent. He was Indian, but he was like, what's the one thing you want most in life right now? And I was like, I want to get out of here. And then he was like, oh, what's the second thing you want most in life? And I was like, I think I said, like, I want my mum to be okay. Like, I don't want to hurt her or whatever. And then he was like, what about, drugs or whatever? And I was like, oh yeah, bro, what do you got? And he had his phone, and in the back of his phone case, he had already crushed up, mulled up weed, like shit weed, by the way. So like we have a name for it when it's like just really horrible chemical hydro rubbish. But he had it mixed with cigarette spin. And he goes, meet me in your bathroom, like after dinner or some shit. And I was like, all right. Met him in my room after, in the bathroom. There's no door in the bathroom to the bedroom thing. And I met him there, and he gave me the I go, give me that shit. And he gave me the weed. I rolled it up in a paper. He had a paper, no filter. And we smoked a spliff in my bathroom out the window. And then the next day, this is the craziest story. People do not believe me, but there's like my mum, I'll explain. You hear about it. But the next day he goes, Turquoise, I got tabs, but you got to give me $50. And I was like, give me one now. Give me two. And he was like, nah, I need the money. And I was like, so this guy's drug dealing in a fucking psych ward, bro. In a fucking psych ward. Unbelievable. I don't want this to cause mad dramas and shit, but
that is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. People don't believe me, but he wasn't there the second time I went. Actually, one dude that I got along with mad, one of the workers said that he's not there anymore and shit. But he ended up giving me two acid tabs, and I put one in a book, like in the front page of a book, and I took the other one, bro. Kept it in my mouth. In the fucking psych ward, bro. I ate a fucking acid tab, kept it in my mouth, and then after a while I swallowed it, and then I started so it was obviously reacting with like all the medications they'd put me on. So it wasn't even like a hectic visual trip or whatever. It more so played on the psychosis sort of symptoms.
Well, it's just a disaster.
Yeah, bro. Oh, ridiculous. So I end up, they have like a tea station with like heaps of tea bags. I only got decaf coffee. And so I ended up, like, I had this thing in my head that was like, decorate the tree in the courtyard with tea bags, but you have to drink every tea. Like, this is what I had in my head, bro. There's like 3 weeks into it or something. 3 weeks into my stay there. Jeez. And I made this. So all day, bro, I drank cups of tea. Like, I just made cups of tea, drank them out in the courtyard and tied fucking little tea bags dangling off a little tree thing in this courtyard, so it looked like a fucking Christmas tree.
And was this at the same time that you thought you shouldn't be there?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Well, I think the first 2 weeks I thought I shouldn't be there. And then I kind of accepted, like, all right, there's no way out of here. So I got to keep myself, busy, occupied and shit.
But you still weren't acknowledging the fact of, I'm severely mentally ill. Like, I need help. Like, you're just thinking, I'm trapped.
Yeah, that was it. There was no logical, like, it didn't even occur to me that I was having any episode of fucking anything. You know what I mean?
So when did you get to that point where it all materialized and you realized, I've been living in a delusion this whole time? Like, when did you get to that point?
Did it?
Yeah.
Fuck, bro, just the longer I was there, because they would increase they'll increase the medication doses in the little cup and whatever. So they go around to your rooms in the morning, make you drink the thing and poke your tongue out and at your door of your room. And then at dinner, they'll go around and make you take your meds as well. And mine kept progressively getting more and more full of more and more tablets because I was probably seemed to be getting more and more out of touch with reality.
Yeah, especially when you were doing acid.
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing. I ended up, it was bad. I think they like pulled them all out or something, or they tried to stop me like at the end of the day. And then I put up a bit of a fight and ended up getting injected and taken to the high security one with the padded walls and shit, with the mattress on the floor and padded walls. And somehow I had a lighter because somehow I was smoking with the old mate who hooked up the weed and the acid. And so I end up lighting my bed on fire when I woke up. Like I woke up like after the injection in the bum, because I got a heap of them. Woke up and I was like, I'm still trapped and I'm in the high security one now. All right. And then I was just like, touched my pocket, got a lighter. I remember it was a black one, black Bic and BIC, sorry. You can edit that out. I just realized that sounded stupid when I said that. You can edit that out, bro. Hopefully. We're not live,
Don't disrespect Bic, man. That's right. That detail does not matter.
Yeah. Anyways, but I pulled it out and I lit this mattress on fire. Lit the mattress on fire. Everyone runs, like, because they I dragged the mattress out of my cell, lit it on fire, smoke everywhere, because it's like a plastic mattress. Smoke alarm's going off, everyone's going like, what the heck is going on? And then they come and I tell them, and because I was still tripping on acid, and then I tell the dude that's like, the worker that's like, we had a good kind of rapport, he was really friendly to me. He was one of them that didn't treat me like I was just a drug addict,
Yeah, and didn't give you drugs, most importantly.
Yeah. But I ended up telling him, I go, that fucking dude sold me acid. Like, he gave me acid, that.
There's no way they would believe you, though.
Okay. He didn't believe me, bro. And I go into my room, get this book that I was reading. I go, open the front page and go. And I think like even my mum, that was probably at the visiting hours when my mum came because she couldn't come see me or whatever because I was in the high security one. And then he ends up and goes and opens it and they find it. They find the acid tab. And I go, how the fuck would I have brought that in? You think my mum's bringing in acid tabs? Like, I snitched. You know what I mean? I snitched. Yeah. So like, that's just a wild story. I don't even know if that really relates to the whole thing. But just, a week or two after that, it started to become more and more clear that like, wait a minute, I'm not even myself right now, or I haven't been acting as myself right now. Like I've been making decisions that I would never fucking make if I was level-headed. Like if I was just like not thinking a million miles an hour and believing all these like things that, you see in the movies, like horror movies, you know what I mean? Like that's not, it just started becoming more and more clear that like it wasn't, it felt real to me, but that wasn't real. That was my brain, like freaking out. Like having a moment, you know what I mean? A long moment, a very dangerous moment, but it was my brain so chemically out of balance and, kind of fried from all the drugs, just sort of just going wherever, like taking me on a journey, which is the scariest part, is that it was all in my head,
Yeah, all in your head, but it is your reality. You're acting it out as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you started to have that Makes sense. And then you were there for like another month or so, and then you got out?
Yeah. Yeah, and then I got out, and I remember getting out. Actually, see, I don't actually remember getting out that mad like that well. But I remember going back to my mum's house, and my mum just like being so caring, bro. You know, like just so patient, because she could see I was better, but she also didn't really understand like how it was like, yeah, I'm better now, but I'm a zombie, you know? I can't talk.
How can you know how to manage you or what's going to happen? And that's the scariest part, is she's seen how bad you just were, and then you just have no idea what's going to happen from here. And that is freaky because how do you prepare for that? And I've got some insight into that because a friend of mine experienced psychosis and was in and out of psych wards for over a year, and he has a mum who's a single parent who loves him more than anything and was his massive support. And I saw her go through that and how scared she was by that, and just feeling hopeless because what can you do other than everything that you can to be there for your son? You can't control this beast if it decides to come out. You know, it's such a horrifying 100%. Position to be in.
Bro, yeah, that's the thing. Like, honestly, like my life goal now is to just like make my mum proud. That's really it. It doesn't even have to be like, you know, make $1 million or fucking, you know, win awards in music or whatever. It's literally just like make her proud and sort of just like be the son that, like, you know, not so much that she wanted me to be, but just be a good person and stay on top of my mental health, because when I do, I am a good person. Like, I am the person that she raised, you know, like.
Yeah.
But it brought us like a lot closer. You know, we share this thing where it's like I've put her through so much shit, bro. So much like trauma, bro. Yeah.
And she stayed by your side though. And correct me if I'm wrong, but she was just about the only one who did when you came home that first time, and then came off your meds again, started smoking weed again, and then same thing happened, and people around you went, he's a lost cause, and your mum still stayed there.
Yeah, she nearly didn't know. That's the thing, because like, when I like, I was like, fuck. Yeah, when I got out the first time, I was so depressed, such a zombie. Again, gained, you know, 35, nearly 40 kilos, doing nothing, sleeping at 5 a.m. and waking up at 5 p.m., you know, just,
And that's the drugs that you're on.
Doing
the drugs you're on to keep you docile. They don't let you do anything.
Yeah. And like, just no point. Like, I just would you know, but like, she found out that I was smoking weed again. You know what I mean? She found out, and she was so heartbroken, but I was so just like convinced that I needed it for the depression, because the fucked up thing is it did make me feel like not, you know, on the edge of the ledge, you know?
I guess it would have given you some space from your reality, which you spent all that time running from. And then all of a sudden you were just confronted with that at all hours of the day. And your nightmare came true of, even though it's much better than the alternative of the nightmare you were acting out, it was, hey, it's just, this is Teon, the empty shell of Teon that's left. And you just had to confront that. And that must have been so overwhelming and hard to be faced
I wasn't
with.
ready. I wasn't ready, bro. That's the thing. Like, I full just wasn't. Like, there was no, like, again, I just wanted to run away from everything. I was like, you know, I've made so many mistakes. I've done so much dumb shit. Like, I just need to escape again. And like, it didn't matter to me. Like, I was like, you know, maybe I won't go, you know.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself. Justifying stuff because you still don't understand the gravity of it. and the reality of like, you cannot do this. Like if you do this, you will end up back there. But you didn't believe it.
Yeah. Didn't want to. And just like, gaslighting myself, just being like, nah, that's just what, the doctors tell you, whatever. Like just fully, just not ready to like come to terms with my, like face my demons, that was the whole thing. It was just like, I couldn't own up to everything that, I did and things that happened to me in my life, and like, I would rather at the time not think about it and just numb myself. I loved feeling numb.
Well, that makes sense, man. It makes sense when you've gone through that much pain and you're faced with this massive mountain that you have to climb, and you don't feel like you've got any tools to do so, and you're not at that point yet where you're ready to really do that. I can understand.
I couldn't even go to the shops, bro. Like I hated it. I was like, people used to treat me so different. Like, bro, got to the point where like even girls that I knew, you know what I mean? Like knew well enough. And like I would run into them, whatever, a couple instances I went out to the nightclubs with my cousins and whatever. And like they would pretend they didn't know me, you know what I mean? And like I got laughed at, bro. You know what I mean? Like because of the state I was in, how people perceive me because of social media. I had a public meltdown. Like, like I was just in this place where I was like, I don't want to go anywhere because people are laughing at me. People think I'm just permanently fried, like I'm permanently not people think I'm a bad person. That was the hardest one. It's like, I don't, you can lose weight, you can this and that, but like having the reputation of being like a bad, violent, loose cannon, ticking time bomb. That was the thing where like that was my turning point after my second stint in the psych ward. It was like I was serious about being like, I cannot have that reputation. I can't, because like you're as good as gone. You know what I mean?
So what changed in your mind? What changed in your mind that second time when you came back with your mum, and even your mum was like, "No, I don't know what to do. I don't feel safe around you." What happened that's led to you being here now?
Bro, it was that thing. Like, I think I might have even said it in the Zoku one, bro. Like, I had so first of all, I really broke down to my mum, bro. I was crying, bro. Like I've never cried bad. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I could really feel everything that I put her through and how heartbroken she was that I have, like, this is her reality, like I am her son and this is how I've turned out. You know what I mean? Like, and I hated myself for that a lot. I hated myself, bro. I was like, very, very much convinced, like, went through a phase where I was like, it's not worth, like convinced myself, there's not even any point of like being here. You know what I mean? Like I've really fucked my life up. That was, and sometimes I still have that, but nowhere near as bad. But like, I had this thing where I was like, what's the best way I can leave this world? What's the best way? Whatever. And then I said, nah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make myself a promise that if I ever do end up in the psych ward and I ever do this to my mum again, my poor mum, bro, if I ever do this again, I'm going to end it. Like that's when I'm going to end it. Like, that I cannot ever put her through that again. Like, not to mention everyone else as well. You know what I mean? Like people I care about, I also traumatized, with my behavior and my, like, just especially them seeing me like that, my therapist told me, it was like, because I was like, I scared everyone, everyone's scared of me. And you know, my current therapist was like, are they scared of you or are they scared for you? And that rocked me because I was like, fuck, like people really, like ones that do care about me, people in my life, like they really care about me. I can see now that they were more so scared for me. So especially
so it sounds
my
like
mum.
you were able to see that this, even though it's about you, it's not just about you, and you could really feel that more than ever, and that was a big part of what's allowed you to actually get your shit together once and for all and move past it. Is saying, hey, this isn't just about me self-destructing. You know, I'm hurting all these people.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it was all these people, and as I said, I know I'm going on about my mum, but like that's my rock, bro. You know, that's my number one. Like, I just was like, you know, I catch myself going through these fucked up thoughts of like, you know, convincing myself, you know, fuck life. And then I just really somehow just kind of saw it as a challenge, you know, and I've always loved the challenge. You know, I've always been competitive. I've always been like, oh, they don't think I can do that. Well, watch me, you know, oh, I'm not going to, you know, do good in music. Well, watch me. I'm not a, you know, whatever. I've always done that. Even in school, when I came back from Tonga, I was like, you think I'm dumb? Watch me go to uni.
Yeah.
And then
so now you're like the real underdog because you put yourself in this position, which no one thinks you're coming back from.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. And so now I see it as a challenge of like, all right, like in the headspace that I'm in now, in this positive headspace, I don't know if I mentioned, but like, I haven't done drugs for over 2 years and I barely drink anymore. And I haven't even drank this year and I don't want to drink, you know what I mean? Nothing against people that like it, but like I'm like against feeling numb now, you know, like I want to feel in control 24/7 of my, you know, thoughts and, you know, health and whatnot. But the challenge is, you know, do good in life. I probably butchered that, bro. That probably sounds like so simple.
Nah,
but
I get the sentiment, man. But the thing is, like, it is simple. You know, that's what you learn, and what we learn is a good life, a rich life, the life you want to live. It's not drugs and parties and girls and rock and roll. It's it's looking after your mum. It's being a good friend. It's knowing where your mind's at and being able to count on your own thoughts and who you are and be someone that people look up to. Like that is
absolutely,
that's gangster.
Absolutely. That's gangster, bro. That's what I want to do. I want to make everyone that truly cares, you know what I mean? Like you know, my loved ones and whatnot, I want to make them proud. And that's it. Like that's just it now. That's like I walk around, you know, every day. Like that's like on my mind constantly. Like, you know, I gotta succeed. I want to make people proud. I gotta be like, just bring positivity into this world, you know, like, because I've done the opposite, bro. I've fully been like, you know, in these states, I've accepted like, all right, I'm evil.
Yeah.
You know,
but you're not. And just because, you know, you did that. But it doesn't have to define who you are now, who you're going to be in the future. And you exemplify that people can change and good things can come out of horrible circumstances if you stay in the game and you do the right thing. And you mentioned there, like, I haven't done drugs for years. I don't drink. So what have you done? What have you done to get to this position? Like positive stuff, like going to the gym, obviously, but.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, honestly, like, I like listen to like, you know, affirmations and shit, you know, before I sleep. Like it was so hard to get into the gym, you know what I mean? But I saw actually one of my mates told me about David Goggins and I really was inspired by his story. I don't know if you're familiar with David Goggins.
Yeah. But used to be obese, then
like
became...
He's a mad runner,
Yes.
I can't even sum it up.
He's the ultimate weapon, that guy.
Bro. Yeah. So I would just
pretty intense.
He doesn't have.
He's not very chill. Like he's like.
He's probably like a bit too far. Hardcore. Stay hard. Yeah. Right. So like I was, as I said, I was like 100 and maybe even, because I'd go to the gym a little bit, but I couldn't stick to it. So I wasn't making, consistent progress. But I found David Goggins and I'd listen to him and like go to the gym and like get on the treadmill and just listen to those like YouTube ones that go for like an hour. Bro, I'll just run for an hour and just like turn the speed up when he's like talking about like whatever, who's going to carry the boats? Like people don't care.
Yeah, and if that's what it takes, man, it's powerful stuff. It's worked for millions of people to get to that.
Bro, just the tools, bro. The tools, you know what I mean? Like I was like, all right, I need some inspirational shit, I need shit that's going to like make me stop feeling sorry for myself, because that's all I was doing for ages.
And then
I carried.
So Teon, did David Goggins, his dialogue, his speeches that he does in those videos, as you listened to him more and more and you did the work and you did the training, did that voice become your voice in your head instead of David's?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'll interpret it. I'll take on his mentality. You know what I mean? Like that. Like the very. It's hardcore. It's probably not for everyone. You know what I mean? In fact, it's definitely not. But like for me, I resonate with that. Like nah, what are you fucking doing, bro? Like let's fucking go to the gym. Like that's how I talk to myself when I need to go. Bro, like. And then I'll do that thing where I'll be like, fucking people laughing at you, bro. Like girls pretend they don't know you anymore and they laugh to their friends and be like, oh my God, I've had people point at me, bro.
Are you still like that now? Are you sort of gotten over that?
Yeah, bro.
You still do that?
I still do that, bro. Yeah. Like you don't even want to know what I call myself when I'm on the staircase machine, just like being like, oh, I want to go home and watch TV or whatever. I'll be like, nah. And then I'll like, as I said, I can't probably repeat what I call myself.
So that
G's me up.
That said, like in the gym context, outside of that though, have you forgiven yourself?
Yeah, I think so. That's a mad question, bro. I think I have. Like the most rewarding part of this journey so far has been, seeing my mum just really like, just happy with where I'm at, like, and just like she trusts me. My family, most of my family trusts me again, because, I've got brothers that still don't trust me, that still think I'm going to act out or like, that deep down I'm like a bad person. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I still have people like that, but I just see that as a challenge of like, all right, well, I'm just gonna stay on this path. And then like, you either see it or you don't, But
well,
like
you are what you do, man.
Yeah.
So you just gotta keep living by example, and the proof's in the pudding. You can say what you want, but it's about your actions. And you've been doing that, and look where it's got you. It's an incredible turnaround from being in a place where just about everyone would have said that's it for you, and that wasn't the case. You're a fit, healthy, smiling young man sitting here now with hope in his eyes. That's an amazing, beautiful thing. You wouldn't have thought that you'd be where you are now. A few years ago when you were in that hole, and you're here, no way, and then you've still got a whole lot of 100%. Your life ahead of you as well, man. So you should be tremendously proud about that, and hopeful for the future, and with a goal to make people proud and make your mum proud. I'm sure she's already proud, but that's an achievable goal, and I'm sure you're already well on your way to doing that. So huge respect to you for doing the right thing every day, making the right decision, being disciplined, understanding that the normal rules that might apply to other people don't apply to you. And if you don't live a certain way by a strict set of rules, it's going to be a disaster. And accepting that and finding a way to be happy anyway, it takes a lot of maturity, and thank God you've done it, because otherwise, it would probably be over by now. So I'm really glad that you have.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Why do we need to not take our mental health for granted?
Like if you take your mental health for granted, you don't know how bad it can get. That's like, that's it. People just don't know until they sort of experience it, like, and it doesn't even have to just be bipolar, it's depression, anxiety. Like people just don't know the consequences of taking your mental health for granted, bottling it up, not getting help when you when you know deep down you should, but you know, you got too much pride, or or it's frowned upon, or your family doesn't believe in mental illness, you know, like you have to be real with yourself, and you have to wake up, and you have to be like, nah, I'm smarter than that. Life's too hectic right now. What would help? Or I'm on the edge. I got to call, you know, Lifeline. Because I've done that, bro. I've done that. Like, and I struggled. I tried like 3 times to call them, and then I was like, nah, they got bigger problems. I don't even matter. Fuck this. Like, and then I was like, nah, actually, like one time I was just like, no. Because I would like break down and shit, bro. I'll break down like in bed and just be like, what's the best way to leave a good impact when I am gone? Okay, I got to start like getting these plans in order to end it, but like, you know, in a way that would, this is bad, you know, and I know it would be so triggering to people, but like, yeah, it's real. It's real. I was thinking of like plans to end it without having like my family hate me, you know what I mean? Like start a charity and, you know, dedicate this to that, and like whatever, leave this to, you know, kids, you know, mental health, whatever. And then, I ended up just like calling and just like crying to this lady who was lovely, and really helped me through it that night, because that was, probably the absolute lowest point of my life.
And that's important to note, you know, pick up the phone and make that call if you really have to. There's no shame in it. And you absolutely are worth it. It's not like there's a more important call that people who are working at Lifeline should be on. You know, you need to pick up the phone and make that phone call at that time, and it could save your life. And it sounds cliche, but you know, you're proof of that. And it's a pretty simple thing to do. Pick up the phone and tell someone how you're really feeling, and it could make all the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, therapy, bro, like it's, you know, it can be expensive even with the mental health plan, but like it's number one. I believe mental health is number one, bro. That's the number one priority. Like a lot of people have I don't want to say a lot of people have the luxury of like just, you know, not suffering so much from mental health or mental illness, you know what I mean? But a lot of people in the world are hurting, you know, and it affects like, you know, negatively a lot of people. So,
well, and everyone who's up and alive and walking around has a brain, right? Which means that we all have mental health, and we're all on that spectrum somewhere. And even if you're not suffering at the moment, you're still going to face challenges throughout your life, and you need to be able to prepare and be open and honest with yourself to make sure that you're ready for that stuff when it comes, not in a paranoid way, but just in a looking after yourself so you can look after other people.
Staying ready. Absolutely, bro. Yeah, that's what, I do, like, I kind of do feel like everyone is, and not to say hurting, but everyone, you know, like could do with help, realistically. Everyone, you know, but
we're human, man. Life's hard, bro.
I highly recommend it. Sorry, bro.
We're all human, and life's not easy. You know, anyone who's like, nah, I don't need any help from anyone ever. It's like, we all know that's bullshit. Come on.
Exactly.
You probably
and
need
I know
the most
too many
help.
people like that, bro.
Yeah, but they're just people. That's totally understandable, and you know, not throwing shade at all, because I understand that not wanting to go and get help yourself. But if you're human, you should be talking. You got to talk to someone. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. It can only help. That's it.
All right, brother. We've just crushed an hour and a half, 2 episodes worth. But it was
That was
worth
a big
it, man.
one, bro.
It was worth it. And you got such an amazing story, and you're such a likable, cool guy to talk to. And the way that you speak about your experiences, I think super relatable and something that people should hear. And the fact that you've been to that depth and you've come back from it and you are who you are now, that's what this show's all about, man. So thanks for getting in touch and wanting to share your story, because that's what we do it for. And just, love hearing from you.
Thanks for having me, bro. Much love. This was, I really enjoyed this, and I love what you're doing, bro.
Thanks, brother. Looking forward to hearing some more music.
Yeah, 100%. Very soon, bro.
Yeah, and no drill.
Nah. Don't worry about that, bro.
That's it for this episode. If you like what we're all about, support us by following Young Blood Men's Mental Health on Instagram and Young Blood Mental Health on TikTok. Every podcast episode is recorded in professional quality video and they're all up on our Young Blood Men's Mental Health YouTube channel. So please show some love and subscribe. Thanks to our local business supporters, Herd Financial. You can find everything there is to know about the podcast at youngbloodmensmentalhealth.com. And most importantly, please share these stories with anyone in your life who needs to know they're not alone. We're all in this together. Catch you next time.